Bergkamp. Perez. Wilco makes a run ahead of him. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent. The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
And welcome to ABW Preview. Desire. I'm still ill, but look at me, been a trooper, been a hero. You can send me flowers and chocolates if you want. I will accept them, although I still can't smell or taste after 3 long weeks. But it is good, because you can have a big stinky poo and no one cares. Right, with me, this is a bit different, people. We've got a preview show with 2 people that don't usually don't do anything really, do they? I'm so sure we'll be spotted. You don't know who they are.
Guilty.
Top right-hand corner, it's the legendary girls team manager and creating stars of the future. It's Richard Cactus Cash. How you doing, Treacle?
I'm very well, Danny. Very well. How? I hope you're feeling better, mate.
Well, I've bored you for the last half hour. You know I'm not feeling better, and you know who I blame.
I was just trying to provide, content for the listeners and the viewers to know about your comings and goings and how you're feeling, mate.
Sad times. Yeah, I'm getting better. I've got a very bad shoulder at the moment, though, but. Yeah, I had to get Sean to stretch it the other day, but anyway, we're not here to talk about my shoulder. Also, it's the only Scottish member of ABW. He is there. He is one of the ones in the group of 13, and occasionally he does pop up and do shows. Nearly did one when I was ill, but no one else could be fucking bothered to come and join in. So it would have been. It's the ABW author as well, the only one we got there. A couple of books.
Now I feel special. Yeah, now I feel special.
Any updates on those books? Because you did your standard one and then you did the updated one.
Yeah, we did the updated one with an extra chapter from Kevin Campbell, which was really nice of him. Yeah, love the guy, really helpful. Other than that, no, I mean, it's still a limited edition. It's going to go back to the red edition eventually. But
so what was the book called, and where can people get it?
Almost Invincible. You can now. It went off Amazon for a little while because the publisher had a problem with them. They fucked it up somehow. I don't know. But now it's back on Amazon, and you can go to Legends Publishing and get it direct.
Legends Publishing is where I always like to get my Arsenal books because, unlike Amazon, they probably pay their taxes.
Yeah, exactly. And if you get it, I'll sign it for you and everything.
I think you've already signed my one. I think didn't you have a list of people if you pre-ordered it? They got a little mention in the back. That was nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Chris Carpenter actually features in it.
Oh, for God's sake, don't get a moment's peace with that scumbag. Absolute liability of a human being. At least he turned up for something, though. That makes a difference. Anyway, harsh. At the moment, I don't think we've got anybody in the chat. I think it's because it's a weird time of day. Usually we do the preview an hour and a half before kickoff, but then that's kickoff's at 2:00. That means I'd have to do the show at 12:30, and that means I'd have to get up at 11:30, and that's not happening when it's winter. It's dark and it's cold, and I stay in bed as long.
Must retire. You must hibernate.
Yesterday, I got out of bed at 7, got in the sitting room for 8, and I was back in my bedroom by 1 a.m. and watched 4 episodes of Star Trek Voyager back to back to back. Oh, wonderful. Halfway through Series 6 now. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that, are we, people? We're here to talk about the game. So what have I got up first? Is where can you see the game? Because the Premier League hates the people that pay their wages. You can't watch the game on TV if you are in the UK, but if you have a certain IPTV, you can watch it anywhere. So I'm going to pick pick a country where you'd most like to be at the moment.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll tell you what channel it's on.
Japan.
Oh, what a wonderful place. Japan, it is on SPOTV Now Japan. Richard, do you want to pick a country?
I'll go to New Orleans in the United States. Where can you watch it on there?
The USA. It is on Peacock and Sirius XM FC. I don't know what that means. It's just words and numbers to me. The Premier League injury table, we have Smith Rowe. We know he's out until maybe New Year. Zinchenko is a bit of a weird one. It says here the last update was the 14th of October, which was yesterday. Quote, I think he is a doubt along with Gabriel Jesus. I don't know. He has not been on the pitch yet, so we have to be a little bit calm. And it says calf, shin, heel injury. Basically leg. Gabriel Jesus head face injury.
I thought that was just fatigue. Oh yeah, because he got knocked out, didn't he? Near enough and
then he was allowed back on again. A quote from yesterday. Obviously, he has some discomfort after the game versus Liverpool, and that's why we decided not to bring him to Norway. Let's see how he is tomorrow, Saturday. And the final one, Elneny. He's no return date for him at all. Jock, are you worried about either of those injuries? Because to have two of the new boys, Zinchenko and Jesus out, is not good.
Zinchenko, he's had a series of niggles, isn't he? To be honest, it's nothing. I read a preview and it said he's just it's a minor issue, so he should be under consideration. But the one I'm more worried about is Emile Smith-Rowe. I mean, someone said it was a growth issue. It's just growing pains, and then obviously he's had to have an op, so it's not growing pains. So I don't know. Smith-Rowe, I want to see him back in the pitch soon as, because obviously he provides competition in more than one position as well. Because obviously Odegaard, it's proven he covers more blades of grass than the majority of the 11. So he's going to hit the wall at some point, because he played in Norway as well, didn't he? So. Smith-Rowe's the one for me. Elneny's great cover, but I think we can just about get away with him. And Zinchenko, I think he'll be back pretty soon. Fingers crossed.
How about you, Rich? Does any of them really worry you? Because personally, I think the Smith-Rowe one is a little bit annoying, because he's not really. I mean, he's got a touch of the Jack Wilshere's about him, hasn't it? And this needs to get sorted out. Otherwise, you can have a career worth of it.
Yeah, I think I think Smith-Rowe's got seems like more of the touch of the Aaron Ramsey's about him. Jack's were all impact injuries because of the way that he would hold on to the ball for so long and then get clattered, and he would try and chuck himself about. Whereas Rambo and Smith-Rowe, it seems to be like muscular kind of muscle injuries, which is almost more worrying kind of thing. Hopefully. They found out what the issue was, and that's was it his groin that he got surgery on? Yeah. So hopefully that was the cause of his muscle injuries breaking down and stuff like that, and hopefully this will cure it all. So, because I say he's a special talent, Smith-Rowe, as we all know, and it's. The amount of injuries he's having in the short period of time is quite disconcerting. So fingers crossed that this surgery has all gone well and it kind of alleviates the rest of his issues.
For that sort of groin op. I mean, what's it normally? It's going to be a couple of months, 3 months?
I guess so. I don't know if it says anything on that website, Dan, or when he's due to be back or anything, but I would imagine we're not going to see him until the new year. I would imagine.
It's a bit of a shame, because we really could have done with him in these Europa League games, because we are a little bit short. Yeah. And if Jesus is out tomorrow, then we've only got one striker, and this is a thing that we've been saying all season, Jock. That if anything happens to Jesus, we don't have a goal scorer up front, because Balogun's on loan in France and Paul Dickoff has retired, and it's only just left with Eddie. But there again, Eddie had a thing for his previous teams last season. He got 2 against Chelsea, did well against Leeds. So maybe this is written in the stars for him to come in against Leeds and star again. Do you think?
I think Jesus will play. I think Arteta's going to be prioritising the league, and Jesus, he got a knock to the face, but he was left out for the Europa League because that's just a rotation thing rather than anything else. It was, I don't even think it was a precaution. So left him back and give him a week to rest his legs, and he'll be back against Leeds. I'd be very surprised not to see him starting, but I'd like to be proven wrong on Nketiah, and his Europa League record speaks volumes. But I think the jury's still out on him. I don't think he is. I still don't think he's Arsenal material. It's a harsh judgment. I don't mind him as backup, but I mean, him leading the line for any prolonged period of time, I don't think he's. Let's say he was to start the whole season, he'd be a preferred number 9, let's say, and Jesus was ruled out for the whole season. Can you put your hand on heart and say, with any sort of confidence, that Nketiah would get you 20 goals a season? I mean, we haven't had a 20-goal season striker for quite some time, to be fair, because, Giroud never bagged 20 either, and he's highly rated. He'd probably get about 12 to 15, I think, but I don't think he's what we need in terms of first choice. But he's good enough to lead the line to rest Jesus' legs. That's about it.
It is. It's. I think, Rich, would you say that if we are really still pushing on all fronts come the January transfer window, and Eddie's had a fair number of chances and isn't really doing it in the league, he's got, I think, 2 in 3 in the. How many Europa League games have we played? Have we played 2?
3.
Played 3.
Yeah. I think he's got
Should
2
have played
goals
4,
in 3.
but PSV got called off because Queen passed away.
That's this Thursday.
We got PSV on Thursday, didn't we?
Yeah. So would you like to go for someone in the January window? I know Arteta isn't the kind, as we've seen in the last 2 January windows, he'd rather not.
I guess it kind of all depends. Like, I mean, I would like us to, and I'd said before that I would like us to sign an alternative to Gabriel, Jesus, and Eddie, because I mean, although they're Jesus is incredibly physical for his size and stuff like that, I would like to have a alternative striker, a bit more of a lump that and with a box threat and stuff like that in the air, just to get that plan B going. But I think Eddie has done. In the main, I think he's done quite well. He's changed his physique quite a lot. Like he seems a lot stronger and a lot sturdier of late. And I as a second striker, there's not many squads, there's not many teams that really can afford to have 2, especially as we play with 2 top level, top 2 versions of Gabriel Jesus. So I think Eddie Nketiah as a backup, I think is perfectly fine. I know what you mean in the sense of if Jesus, God forbid, is out long term, you need someone more than Eddie. But I think as that number 2, as that someone who can bring you that energy, can bring you a little bit of physicality for his size. I think Eddie is not too bad. And like I said, I think Jesus will play tomorrow. I think he's travelled up with the squad and everything, and it seemed from most of the noises that I've read, I may be wrong, but it was literally that it was just giving him a rest and stuff like that. It wasn't anything massively injury concerning. So hopefully he goes up there and torments the crap out of Leeds defence.
Just wind their manager up. God, he's an explosion waiting to happen, isn't he?
He's highly strong, isn't
he? Slightly. Let's have a look at the history of this fixture. All-time Premier League games are Leeds v Arsenal, and at either ground. Arsenal won 15, 5 drawn, and Leeds have won 8. We've scored 53. They've scored 29. So we're kicking their ass there. And at Ellen Road, only in the Premier League, Arsenal won 5. We've drawn 4, and Leeds have won 5. We've scored 22. They've scored 13. So I was looking back at previous fixtures, Jock, and the last one was the 18th of December 2021. We went there and we smashed them 4-1. Martinelli 16, Martinelli 28, Saka 42, Rafinha penalty for them 75, Smith Rowe for us 84. That was the beginning of the turnaround for with Arteta and showing what he could do. Do you remember that game?
You're going to have to repeat that. My charger wasn't on.
Which part didn't you hear?
All of it. I got distracted and I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. So, non-suspicious.
Richard heard it. Richard, you talk about
I did, yes.
Sorry,
it was,
sorry.
I do remember there were some really, really good goals. Oh my goodness. There were some really, really good goals in that game as well. I specifically remember the last goal that Smith Rowe scored, where it was a lovely through ball, a little dink through ball from Odegaard, and I think Martinelli scored a screamer in that goal as well, in that game as well. It was the turnaround
where Smith Rowe was coming on as a sub and getting goals, wasn't it?
That like I said, that was the turnaround. I mean, it helped also that like Leeds were an absolute shambles at the time because they had like half their squad dead.
Still manager.
But I mean, how much stock can we take from last season's fixture when they had a different coach? They've brought in a raft of players as well, and so have we. I mean, it's hard to say whether it's going to be any. I think their game plan. Sorry to butt in, Rich, mate. I do apologize.
No,
I think it's proven in terms of match facts. They're so open at the back because they try and run you ragged, and if it works, I mean, look what they did to Chelsea at Ellen Road. Their record at Ellen Road, I think they're undefeated this season, or they might have one defeat, but it's a very good record at home. Because they're 100%. They haven't let go of that Bielsa mentality where they just run and run and run, and they're a sight to behold when they're in attack. But in defence, they're a fucking shambles. I think they run more under this dude rather than Bielsa. But you're right. Wow. The levels that they run is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
unbeaten at home and haven't won away.
Yeah, they haven't won the last 5 either. I know that much. I mean, let's be honest. We're not saying we're title contenders, but we'd be well pissed off if we didn't win. Our away record this season and our away defensive record is the best in the league this season. The only goals we conceded away from home are the 3 goals against Man United, which was, an aberration at best. So I'll be perplexed if Leeds got anything from the game, but the way they play, if they get the wind in their sails and they get a goal early, which we're not ironclad. We can concede, then the game could go away from us quite quickly.
Would you say Leeds are one of them teams like Arsenal, where if teams allow us to play the beautiful game, we have a better game because Leeds have got the players. I don't really know much about their manager, but I know under Bielsa they tried to play the beautiful game, didn't they? So it could be a good game because it'll be a good game for the neutrals because it'll be really fast. Unless Jesse Marsh said before the game, in his own unique manner that he'd really scoped out Arsenal. He said, if you try and match them in their own game, what most coaches say, then you'll get ripped apart. But he said he focused on our movement a lot. I'm worried that he's gonna 2 banks of 4 and just one up top and rely on Sinistera for the break. But I don't think they'll be able to change that much. I really don't. They're used to playing one way. I only ever go back 3 games, and it always the relevant fixture. So the last one before that was Leeds Arsenal, 26th November 2020. Out of our starting 11, 6 of them are no longer at the club. Leno, Bellerin, Ceballos, Willian, Willock, Aubameyang, and Pepe is probably never going to play for Arsenal again. And the one before that, this has got to the point where it is completely irrelevant, was the 1st of November 2003. Leeds 1, Arsenal 4. Henry 8, Perez 17, Henry 33, Gilberto 50. And just to bring a tear to everyone's eye, the lineup that day, it was Lehmann in goal, Campbell and Toure at centre back, Cole left back, Lauren right back. I'm just working this out as I look at them. Gilberto Silva in the holding midfield, Henry up front with Bergkamp playing behind him, Lundberg one wing, Perez the other, and I suppose Parler playing next to Gilberto Silva. I'm just going to have a look now and see if either of you are crying.
What a lineup.
I'm not crying, you are.
I got misty-eyed there, man. Jesus.
That was only the 3rd Premier League game Leeds away. That's how long they spent out of the Premier League.
I'll never forgive him for that 1-0.
Which one was that? The one that stopped us winning the title when O'Leary was celebrating, which is why Arsenal fans allegedly hate him for it. Yeah, I was at the. I've taken my mate Sexy Frank to one game in his life. It was towards
Sexy
the end of the
Frank.
season.
Whoa. Sex. Did you give him this nickname?
No, he was with his missus at the getting his hair cut, and he could hear the girls out the back at the hairdressers going, "Who's going to cut Sexy Frank's hair?" They all argue over who's going to cut his hair. So we all call him Sexy Frank now.
If someone that's quite a good way to get a nickname.
And his wife takes the piss out of him, and I don't think his kids understand the meaning of the Sexy Frank yet bit. But yeah, taking him to one game, he hates football, dragged him along, and Leeds beat us. I think beat us 4-3 possibly at the end of the season.
Was it 3-2? I think it was.
The three was that the start of the
Oh, God,
I don't know. Anyway,
Was
I've never
Viduka-
taken
No,
him
that
in.
was
Viduka.
Viduka. Yeah. That was the final game before our 49 run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the next game was the pennant hat trick, wasn't it?
The Southampton 6-1 Pires and pennant. That was where. Remember that Pires goal? He's one touch, first touch, lobbed it. Oh God, unbelievable.
It was 3-2. Yeah,
Yes.
it was the 4th of May 2003. So was that the game
Halcyon
you're on about, Richard?
days. Halcyon days.
Yeah. The game after that is beat Southampton 6-1.
What happened to Chrissy's hair and why does he have a Scottish accent? Thanks, Jeff. Cheers, pal. Good to hear from you, mate.
Jeff has become a pirate himself. He's been sailing the high seas.
I've seen it. I'm living vicariously through his images. It looks amazing wherever he bloody is. I'm jealous.
You're going to put a little picture of. We actually haven't had you on when we've updated the pictures. So there's a little serious jock in the top right hand corner.
Where did you get that?
Probably off your Twitter. That's where most of them come from.
Oh, that's me posing in the office.
Look at this one though.
That is. Have you seen this man?
Have I seen what?
Have you seen this man? It's a Crime Watch image. That is.
It does look. It looks like he's holding food in his cheeks.
Hannes, no.
But the only reason we came on here was to put.
When I first met him,
Jeff.
Look at that.
He's a good-looking bastard, isn't he?
Oof. Yeah, everyone loves a bit of Jeff.
Looks like a hardline detective.
Right, so the next bit we're going to go and do, moving on for those irrelevant stats, is what was the bit I was going to do? This one, no, that was the last game. Yeah, just talk about, mention where we are in the league. Obviously, we're top of the league. And Leeds are 15th in the league. Their home record, as Jock was talking about earlier, played 4, 1-2, drawn 2, lost none, scored 6, which isn't good, and only conceded 2 at home. So they concede 1 goal every other game. But then again, our away record, as you were saying, is we've played 4, won 3, drawn none, lost 1, scored 9. And that is the highest number of anybody in the Premier League scoring 9 goals away from home. We're joint with Man City, and we've got the best away goals conceded record with 3, and with Man City and Newcastle on and West Ham on 4. So how do you think the game's going to go, Joe?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I would put, if I was a betting man, which I'm not because I haven't got enough money to bet, I would say 3-2 win. I think we'll concede. I think Leeds will be buoyed on by their fans. Sinisterra's back from his ban, and I think he's a really dangerous player. I really like him. And I think Bamford he'll be in line to start as well. And he's due a goal, isn't he? To be fair, after his mysterious foot injury, that was Peter Andre's second single. Sorry. Oh my God, that's woeful. I do apologise. Yeah, I'd go 3-2 or 3-1. I think both teams will score. I think we'll win. I'll take it, to be honest. Just go from one game to the next, as the old analogy says.
How about you, Richard? What are you going to go for?
Yeah, I have to say I agree. I think it's going to be a great one for the neutrals. I think it's both teams at high tempo. I think Leeds are going to allow us gaps to go. If we can beat their pressing tactics and their coked up fucking running around tactics, which we're capable of. Yeah, allegedly.
I don't think they're really doing coke.
No. They're not on the asthma pumps like Liverpool or anything like that. yeah, if we've got the players to play around them, Partey controlling things at the back and stuff like that. I think we can definitely exploit the gaps that they're going to leave. Yeah, I can see a good 3-0, 3-1 victory. Like I said, it might be a bit hair and scare and it might be a bit crazy, but I think we've got the quality and the form and the confidence that we can exploit them gaps.
I think it'll be a key. Will be Odegaard. I think touching on what you mentioned, nice dog. Touching on what you mentioned, I think there is going to be gaps at the back, and we've got ample runners because obviously Jesus is a great runner, and Martinelli, especially in Saka. But then you need to find them while they exploit those gaps. So you need someone to thread the ball through, and I think the best person in our team at doing that is Odegaard. Xhaka's shown a penchant for it recently as well, which is quite handy. But I think if Odegaard gets his foot on the ball and even gets a second of space, I think he'll rip them apart. I really do.
I agree with Arnie. I'm going to go 2-1. It's not going to be an easy win, but I think we are going to win because their defensive record at home is so impressive. Phil Macker says 3-0, easy. That would be nice. But David, Mr. Waffles in the rainy part of America, he says something to think about. He says, give Martinelli another season around Jesus and he'll be ready to play at 9. Where do you see the future of Martinelli, Jock? Please don't say Real Madrid or Barcelona.
As long as they don't go fucking Chelsea, then you'll know he's in it for. He's come out and said all the right things, hasn't he? Let's be honest. He's saying, I want to stay here for life. Just like Smith Rowe has said the same thing, and Saka said it in the past. I was actually having this conversation with my brother earlier on today about my.
Isn't he a Man United fan?
No, he's a Gunner too. We got games together, and I think Martinelli's future will be a number 9. They all start out wide, and they cut in. I mean, I know Mbappe's getting his tits in a fucking wrap because he wants to play out wide and he doesn't want to play as a number 9. But I think Martinelli, he's just made for a number 9, isn't he? And I think Phil's. Whoever Mr. Waffles, he left that comment. I think it's bang on. Stay around Jesus, learn all you can from the guy, and yeah, he's not. You wouldn't say Jesus is the most clinical striker in the league, but you would definitely trust him with Martinelli, like taking him under his wing. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'd like Martinelli to be a striker, but then if he keeps playing the way he's doing out wide, then fucking keep him there. Jesus, as long as we keep him, that's the main thing.
Yeah, Rich, do you see similarities with the way that Henry came through at Arsenal and progressed as his career? Would you go more Ronaldo? Because some of those jinky runs he does are just absolutely. You look at them, you go, "Ooh, FIFA-esque."
It sounds very excited there, Danny.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I'm also thinking after this, I'm going to ring up my mate Shazzy at Chili Bite and get some food, even though I can't taste it. So I'm thinking of cheesy chips.
I thought you was thinking about Sexy Frank again.
The COVID-ins at the moment. Him and his missus, and all 3 kids have got it, I think.
Jesus.
As far as I can see what he's saying in that sense, because he's got that physicality, he's got that that willingness to hustle and bustle. He likes to challenge. He loves the duel, exactly like Gabriel Jesus, who again is not a big dude, but the amount of collisions he wins and the amount of like tussles that he puts himself in for. He was absolutely slamming into Van Dijk the other day and Matip causing them all. Varane just smashing into him, like I say, just causing them all sorts of havoc. So if he can learn that side of the game as well, because I always felt physicality, he might not be as smart with his body positions as he could be, but he's a young lad who's never played that position properly before. So yeah, like I said, learn from Gabriel Jesus. The more time, the more he's going to get that man strength come in as the older he gets. He's going to get that experience of putting his body in the right positions, and that experience of getting your body in between the ball and the player and stuff like that. Why not? Because I think Brazil are they're crying out for a proper number 9, an established number 9. I think they've got wide players in abundance in there, and what they really want is a consistent quality number 9. And like I said, I think that's one of the things I read and heard, that why Gabriel Jesus was so excited to come to Arsenal, because he was going to play as that number 9. Because like I said, to get into the Brazil World Cup squad and things like that. So yeah, I can't, why not? If as long as Martinelli, keeps doing what he's doing and keeps learning, keeps having that enthusiasm, and he's got great people around him, that lad's got such a high ceiling and such a high scope for potential. So yeah, why not?
I think it could be the future. The bloke is an absolute joy to watch. Jog, we haven't, because most of the people who can actually run StreamYard couldn't be bothered to do any fucking shows while I was on my deathbed having visions of the afterlife. You haven't had it. You actually put your hand up, and so did Richard, available to do a show, and no one else would come along and help out. So to talk a little bit about the last few games and how Arsenal are doing this season, because it was very rarely we get hold of you, and yeah, being someone who's a man of words, this will be good, hopefully. Don't go, I don't know.
No pressure. No pressure. I liked the resoluteness and the resilience we showed against Bodo, because they're 14 games unbeaten at home. I mean, last season's Europa League run showed what they're made of at home. Obviously, you've got the AstroTurf pitch to throw into it. So the game was set up to be difficult, and we came out as winners, so you couldn't ask for much more than that. There was no injuries. It was a rotated side as well. Fabio Vieira, put his foot in here, there, and everywhere. But I was particularly pleased for Sambi, because he got a lot. I noticed on Twitter he got a lot of stick, but then the stat guys came in and showed all these stats for the game, and his take-ons, his pass completion. The guy had a fucking really good game, and yet everyone was attacking him like, oh, he's not ready, he's a bit raw. If he plays like that and puts in those numbers, he's an able deputy for either Xhaka or Partey. I mean, obviously we'd miss either one, but Sambi's doing the right things well, and he played against a tough team in a tough fixture. So I was particularly pleased about that. I thought we could have rotated a couple more maybe, but I can't really argue with one. So, and the Liverpool game, fuck me, Jesus. I know I'm swearing a lot, but
you can do the Spurs one as well.
Oh, gee,
show for that.
Really? Oh, God. Yeah. The Liverpool game there was a lot of complaints from the Liverpool team, but I mean, then someone came on Twitter afterwards and said, you complain about injustice, but look how many elbows have been directed from Sadio Mane over the last few years, and they're blatant elbows as well. So, yeah, all right.
He's not that kind of player, though, isn't he?
Oh no, of course not. I like the guy. I always like Sadio Mane, but yeah, he was filth on the pitch. So you can't really, you can complain because everyone's going to complain. We've done some shit. They've done some shit. A couple of decisions could have gone their way, but you wouldn't say any of them were completely 100% nailed on stonewall. And it's the same with our penalty. If it had happened in our box, they would have been shouting for a penalty as well. So, I mean, it's one of those, it could have been given. We've seen them given before. If you've seen them given before, then it could be a penalty. And that's what, don't get me wrong, no one's a fan of VAR. No one knows what the fucking handball rule is at the moment, because it's absolute travesty. And the key thing is there's zero consistency. You'll see one given, and the next game, it won't be. It's just, hello, beautiful men. Oh, thanks. Is that? Wait a minute. Do I know this one? Don. Is that
Don 1? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He's always in the chat. He has been for
okay.
years.
Oh my OMG, it's Jock. So I was pleased because Liverpool came in that first half. They came into it and they really started to turn the screw. And I was starting to think, shit, I'm getting shades of the last 5 years. I was at me and Hammers, James Stokes. We were at do you remember we beat him 4-1? Bellerin curled in that opener. We were at that game. It's still one of the best games I've ever seen. And I think that was the last time we'd beaten them. 2017, I think. So I was getting shades of that again, because they just steamroll you, and that's what they've done for years and years. But we dug in and we got something out of it. And the second half was I'd say that was the majority of it was us. We earned the points. And on the basis of it, yeah, it was a home game, but oh man, the crowd. I'm loving the Emirates right now. They've really got all of us on side. And Xhaka and Martinelli said, when I think it was Saliba scored that own goal, not against Liverpool, but further back in the season, and the crowd, instead of going oh and groaning, the volume cranked up to 11. Hashtag Spinal Tap. And it really spurred it on, and that's when they went on to another level. And when was the last time any of us, or at any time, I've heard that at the Emirates? I mean, I've heard some crowds. I don't think it's a library by any means, but I went during the Emery season, and it was painful. I mean, trying to get a song started, it was like pulling teeth. But it's a united fan base now, and it's beautiful to hear, watch. I mean, there's always going to be dickheads, but yeah. And the Liverpool game was. You heard the noise. You saw the reaction afterwards. It was beautiful to see and beautiful to hear. So, and the Tottenham game, well, fuck them. They got exactly what was coming to them. They tried to play the Conte way, which is we'll sit back and we'll spring a liquid counter attack on you, and it did not work because we knew they haven't got plan B. So when they tried to spring their plan A, we had a plan for that. If you don't plan for in another way, then you're going to get everything that's coming to you. We played that game perfectly. Saliba was a man mountain. I think Gabriel's getting some flack, but he plays a different centre-back type game than Saliba. Gabriel has to lead from the front and come out, and he has to be more reactionary, so there is going to be more mistakes because Saliba he's almost playing like a farther back from Gabriel a lot of the time. It just seems to be he doesn't have to be the one stepping in. So I feel sorry for him, and I think he's been playing well, actually, to be fair. I can't find a fault in that game against Spurs. I really can't. We should have scored more. That was about it.
Wonderful. Richard, people were saying up to before the Spurs game, Arsenal would only top the league because they haven't played anyone important, haven't played a big team. So what do you say to those people now and talk a little bit about the Spurs and the Liverpool games? Because, yeah, it's looking pretty good.
To those people, I say stop being so bloody miserable. I think a lot of the teams that we've played, I think they're all in pretty much all in the top half of the league. Bournemouth and say now Spurs and that. We've played. You can only play who's put in front of you, and I think our points per game against the teams that we played from last year is much more improved. The eye test. That you can just see the difference between this team and the one from the previous years. The fact that teams are respecting us and are fearful of us because they know our abilities and they know what we can do, kind of thing, which is giving us more space and more time on the ball, which is fantastic. The Tottenham game, unfortunately, I didn't see the Tottenham game live. I was coaching a girls' game against a French team in Chiswick, which we drew 3-3. But it was a great game. But so I didn't get to see the Spurs game live. So once you see it after and you see the highlights, things get skewed and stuff like that. But like the big barometer for me was the Liverpool game because the North London derby. Even in pretty much all of the Wenger years where we were one of the best teams in Europe and Spurs were dog shit, they were always fairly tight games for the most part because it's a North London, it's that derby.
Yeah.
So that was never going to be the biggest barometer kind of thing. Yeah. The Liverpool game for me was because normally we get absolutely blown away by Liverpool every single time we played them. Last season, we we were a little bit better against them, but then that we got blitzed and kind of like 2-0 and we got done. But this one, not only did we compete and play against them, I mean, it was a high quality game and don't get it twisted. Liverpool weren't terrible in that game.
No.
We were just better. We absolutely competed and apart from that 10 about 10-15 minutes in the second part of the first half where they looked like they were Thiago was starting to pull them strings and stuff like that, and they were looking good from 5 minutes before half time, and then pretty much the whole of the second half we were the better team by a considerable way. The fact that they were having to make substitutions left, right, and centre, hooking Salah and stuff like that.
They were making defensive substitutions.
Because because Martinelli was absolutely ripping the arse out of Alexander-Arnold, and then Joe Gomez, he was doing him as well.
He got taken off at half time, Trent, didn't he?
Yeah, I think there was a collision when Martinelli put a cross in. And Trent tried to stop it, and he went on his ankle, and I think he rolled it. Right. But I mean, he might have been hooked anyway, because he was just, like I said, Martinelli just had him on toast, and then Salah got taken off, which I was like, wow, that is
completely unrelated Arsenal question, Rich, and to you, Dan. I've got a fair amount to say on this, but what do you make of Trent? Do you think he's the real deal? Do you think he gets unfair criticism, or do you think he really needs some work? What do you think on him?
I think he's almost not a defender. I think he's a wonderful technical footballer. I think he works well in the position that he's in, because he's able to get the ball in that half space, in that mid space. Because I think I've seen people say, like, why don't Liverpool play him higher up the pitch and stuff like that. But I think if he's got players tight to him and the ball's coming to him, especially with his back to goal, no good. He needs to come onto that ball. He needs to see that play, see that open field ahead of him. I think where he's getting let down a little bit was, I don't think he's ever going to be a fantastic, brilliant defender. I think he's too upright for a starter, for a kickoff. I also think the fact that Jordan Henderson is now not helping him out. Was it?
So I've just read a comment from Phil. It's a very obscure Red Dwarf reference.
Oh, go on. What was it? Was it Trent was last flat since he started looking at Dwayne Dibley? Yeah. It's the Duke of Dork himself, Dwayne Dibley.
You're so right about his posture.
Yeah, it's all wrong, isn't it?
If he gets caught out, he's not like primed to catch back. But Jurgen Klopp, among the many things he's said recently, is that he gets a lot of shtick, but he has to. That his instructions he follows to a T that Klopp gives him. But the problem is that means he has to rely on the cover. Like, do you remember when Tierney was our starter last season? I love Tierney, obviously, and when he was bombing down, we were loving it, but we were relying on Xhaka, who was still our number one DM back then, to provide cover. And Xhaka isn't the best tracker. He's not a DM. We can see that now. We all know that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go over all ground. But he relied on Xhaka to cover him. And when he didn't cover, it looked like, oh, Tierney's caught out of position. He's not caught out of position. He's been given license to go up top, but he needs the other players to adapt. Now, Trent has to do that because he's following Klopp's orders. But Klopp came out and said, you guys are not watching the game. He is getting caught out because the cover are not following the instructions. And I don't know if that would be Thiago or, is Henderson. Is he starting games?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Henderson's his big, Henderson or like Naby Keita or even Fabinho.
Fabinho, yes, of course.
Would be his kind of his cover, and also the amount of ground that someone like Matip and Van Dijk cover. They're not lightning quick, but they're massive and they cover that ground really, really well.
Yeah.
And they're getting caught out, and then obviously like he's now panicking a little bit Like, for instance, was it our second goal? I think if he was in a better headspace and he wasn't having all being left out of the England squad and this big discussions about whether he's he can defend or blah 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 blah, I don't think he would have gone for that towards Martinelli to try and stop that. He thought he was going to shoot kind of thing. He took that gamble. I think a more sensible player, someone who's in the right headspace, would know that. Would have or Super Tomiyasu, who is a guy who knows how to defend, gets his body in the right posture, gets his knees dipped and on his toes kind of thing, hunched down. Because like I said, Trent for me, he's too tall, he's too upright all the time. He can't, and that's how he gets beaten. And so he scuttles across, and that's when Martinelli pulls it across to. But brilliant.
Even with his deficiencies, right? His dead ball, not just his dead ball, his delivery is so good. Like Neville waxes lyrical about him. His delivery is so good. He has to justify inclusion because with one pass he creates a goal, and his production rate is so good. Even when he's having a bad day, he'll just ping a 50-yarder and he'll put it on the head for someone. He has to play, doesn't he?
Well, I don't think they've got anyone else who even comes close to matching what he can can do on that right hand side. Like for Liverpool, at least, in the England conversation, I would still take him kind of thing, because it's horses, especially now. Reece James is knackered. Horses for courses. If you've got someone, a team, a very very good team who are looking to attack you, maybe that's not the game for Trent Alexander. But if you're playing some,
Tottenham side,
exactly, then like I said, that's what you're. He's going to come into his own, like getting plenty of the ball high up the pitch, where he can dictate. Because like I say, he's very similar in the mold of quite similar to Cancelo at Man City. That kind of, he's almost kind of like a right back and a half. It's very different to where he plays.
That's the difference.
Cancelo's got some nous and some dirty shithousery about him that Trent doesn't have. I think sometimes maybe we need to, Liverpool and England fans need to kind of look at what Trent can do rather than what he can't do. I don't know. Maybe that's just.
What about you, Dan?
Well, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying that he didn't start his career in that position until he was about 17, because they saw he had all the skill in the world, and the only open slots they had was at fullback, and being left-footed, that they put him in there. So it's a little bit like Ashley Cole was a striker as a young man, and loads of other players. It's like Lauren was a right midfielder.
That's right. I remember
when he was
that.
At Malaga. And so you can see that that's not his best position. But Liverpool, although they have been successful over the last recent few years, they haven't got money to go and throw 40-50 million at a new left back like Chelsea do every 6 weeks. And then they bought Chilwell, isn't he, a left back? And then they went and bought Cucurella, another left back, which is best part of
City have
90 million.
City have spent ridiculous money on fullbacks as well, over the last 5-6 years.
They throw it away, and that's their problem. He can't justify the money to go and buy a new left back, so which is what you should do, and then you'd get the most out of him playing in that kind of position, playing in the more forward position, because he's a bit. I mean, you look at those over the last few years. Who's the right back for Liverpool? The Scottish one. I can't remember his name.
Robertson.
That's it. It's not normal for you to have a pair of fullbacks, wing backs, that between them are going to get you 25 assists a season. You think there's pairs of wingers that don't do that. I mean, so that just shows you the kind of the way that they play. And he's going to have to look at that situation. I mean, I don't think Klopp's going to be there for much longer, because he was 7 years at Dortmund.
So the 7-year syndrome. Yeah.
And he is. I think Mane has gone too soon. And it was Salah, the one they should have got rid of and done another Coutinho, got a fortune from him and rebuilt the squad, but they didn't. They got bugger all for Mane. I mean, that's what they get, 40 million?
That's a good shout, actually. You know, rebuild the side like the great sides have done in the past. Use that money, because they would have got a bomb. Absolutely. Huge windfall for Salah. Yeah. And I don't think Salah's finished. I think class will permeate it.
Well, he's changed his position, hasn't he? They've played him out wide now, and more often sticking to that position because they got Nunes and the other one playing up front.
I like Nunes. I think he'll get his fair share. I think, you know, you spend that much money, you're going to get, you know, it's like when Pepe signed, everyone was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you don't bag, you know, a goal every game or, you know, make a significant contribution, then you're automatically shit. Look when Haaland didn't score and it was his first or second game, everyone was like, what a waste of money. It's the fickle nature of fans, isn't it? But, and I think Nunes will work out, but I think you're right. I don't think Klopp will be there much longer. Not because Liverpool will struggle, but it's Klopp.
Yeah, he'll have a year off and then he'll be off to Real Madrid or something. But you look at the league table, 8 games in for Liverpool, 11th. We're 14 points ahead of them already.
They'll still finish top 4.
Well, depends. Possibly, but this isn't a Liverpool podcast. I hope they get relegated.
I wouldn't even put it past them. I know this is a horrible fucking negative statement, but we've all been burnt in the past, and I am a glass half empty kind of guy because I don't want to be disappointed. I wouldn't put it past them finishing above us still. I really wouldn't.
No, we've got second place. That's ours. As long as we don't get any injuries.
Oh, you know what? I want more. Aaron Ramsdale got attacked for. He got interviewed during the week, and he was asked, you know, what do you want the most this season? And he said Europa League. He said, you know, top 4. You know, of course, that's, you know, the bread and butter. That's the main, you know, Champions League qualification. But if you win the Europa League, then you qualify for the Champions League anyway. Then you play in the illustrious Super Cup, which is, you know, something we need to play in. Our European pedigree, I have said it so many times over the last few months in my blogs, it is atrocious for a big side. A Cup Winners' Cup and a Fairs Cup in 1970 is not good enough. We need to win a European title. And the Europa League is a good trophy. I'll be over the moon with the Europa League. And if we finish 5th, we won the Europa League. It's silverware that counts. No one remembers top 4. That was Wenger's legacy for the last 10 years, and everyone said it was shit. No one remembers that. Everyone remembers silverware. You know, every FA Cup win we've won over the last 5-6 years, everyone remembers where they were, what they were doing, who scored. Everyone remembers silverware. We need to win the Europa League, and it'll be fucking tough because it looks like Barcelona are going to drop in it, and teams like that, and Man United as a cup
maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, Europa League for me all the way.
Even Atletico Madrid, Rich. How do you feel about that, Rich? Would you like? Not that they're going to listen to us and go, okay, them 3 have said this or that. This is what we're heading for. But I think second in the league, Europa League.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect. I agree with Jock. I would love us to get the Europa League. Like I said, our European legacy is woeful for a club of our size and our history and what we've done in the game.
Yeah.
It's woeful. I would. You know, I think, you know, we've put ourselves in a good enough position, and we are playing good enough that we can get top 4. But like I said, I'd want to supplement that with the Europa League win. It's going to be difficult because, like I said, you're going to have your Barcelonas. What did Mourinho say in the week? The Champions League failures, the sharks of the Champions League coming down. Like I say, you got your Juventus, Barcelona dropping down, which I think is wrong personally. But why give them like fucking an extra shot kind of thing?
Yeah.
But I think they go into. I think they go into. Do they play the runners up? Because like if we top the group in the Europa League,
there's a playoff, isn't there?
We kind of go through to like the
next stage,
the second round. Yeah, there's like another like knockout fixtures where I think it's the drop downs of the Champions League fuckers against teams that finish second in the league.
Yeah, I think that's the case, and I would like to avoid any of them. I mean, don't get me wrong, the joy I would get from dumping Barcelona out would be amazing, but I'd rather not risk.
It's called After the group stage, you have the preliminary knockout round. 8 group runners-up from the group stages, 8 group third-place teams from the Champions League fight against each other to get 8. So then you get the 8 group winners, and then the 8 from them 8v8, and then that makes a 16 of the set of the knockout phase. That's absolute bullshit. So we have to finish first. No wonder that Arteta decided to play a full-strength team away at Gurdy Bird. So
it changes next year, said in the comments. Champions League teams no longer drop into Europa League, but next year I hope we're in the Champions League. Exactly.
Oh, they're changing it next season.
Yeah,
wow.
I think if we beat PSV at home, which isn't a given because PSV are kind of tricky. Yeah. I think. Do we qualify if we beat them?
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Is that done? So yeah, hopefully we can get that done, and then we play. I think Zurich. We play PSV again, and then we play Zurich, don't we?
Well, at the moment we're top of the group with 9 points with a game in hand. So if we beat PSV, then we'll have 12, and they'll have 7.
You went a little bit Steve McLaren there,
just a little bit, yes.
PSV. If we beat PSV, then we'll be on 12, they'll be on 7, and we still have to play them. So I think a win and but again, our last game is against Zurich, who are rock bottom, lost all 4 games. So we're definitely going to beat them. So I think we may even get away with 2 draws against PSV.
I just figured if we beat them, if we turn them over at home, and then we can just literally play the proper reserves in the remainder of the what's going to still come out top. I think that'd be a good
schedule that everyone's going on. I mean, if we could play a few of the kids that are coming through, and we definitely need more rotation because we're still playing a healthy contingent of our first team. And players like Vieira need to be acclimatized, so they're ideal for this. Rob Holding is is ultra reliable. He can come in, but we're still playing like the likes of Partey and Xhaka, especially. I don't want to see him anywhere near the Europa League group stages right now. But at the moment, I mean, Xhaka played, didn't he?
So did Partey. They both came on.
Yeah. There you go. So I don't want to see him anywhere near it. They need to be wrapped in cotton wool.
What do you think about Matt Turner? People have been saying on the Twitters, because Twitter is informed, that he's played 3 Europa League games, 2 clean sheets against, like you were saying, Jock, Bodo Glimt, who 14 games unbeaten at home in Europe, which is only 1 away from Barcelona's 15, which is the record. Would you like to see him given a chance in the Premier League?
No, this is just another case of fickle fans. It does my fucking Sweden. Last season, Ramsdale was the flavour of the month. He was like, he should be England's number 1, blah, blah, blah. And he's shown a few weaknesses. Given his fucking age, goalkeepers coming to their prime, early 30s, sometimes even mid 30s. I mean, look at Manuel Neuer, Buffon. I don't need to reel through the examples. He is young. He's going to make mistakes. And unfortunately, with goalkeepers, mistakes lead instantly to goals. Give the guy a fucking break. And it's not said enough. He is crucial for our team spirit as well. I mean, the guy is extremely vocal. He G's people up. I mean, he G's the fans up as well, which is great. And that shouldn't have any sway on his selection, but I think he's not done enough to say, you should only drop a keeper. When Fabianski made like 2 or 3 clangers in a row, and you're like, right, it's not his mentality's gone now. His brain's gone now. He needs to be dropped out. Let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to Colney, to the training ground. Go back to the basics, and we'll focus on your game, and then we'll bring you back up. We did the same with Almunia. We did the same with Szczesny. Ramsdale ain't anywhere near that. He's made a couple of, we should have saved that. That's it. He's near post. Turner is a good prospect. He's an ideal number 2, just like Nketiah is an ideal backup, because they're happy to sit on the bench. They realise they've got it good where they are, and they're good enough to come in for the odd game. You're not always going to get lucky and get an Alex Manninger, are you? So Turner isn't proven. Let's hold our fucking horses here. Keep the faith with Ramsdale. He's done us very well. I mean, I looked at that save during the week, that save against Leicester. That free kick from Maddison last season? But that just shows the talent of the boy. I think that is an unsavable free kick. As close to unsavable as you can get, because he actually saved it. It's unbelievable, and he did that 2-3 times. I still feel sorry for Bernd Leno, for fuck's sake. I mean, he pulled out some unbelievable saves, and he was gone. Let's stop being so fickle. Get behind the kid. Sorry,
I like Turner. I have to say.
Richard, I'm going to order my food before they shut. I'll just get in the phone number from my Echo. So you keep talking while I ring up and order it, and it'll be here in half an hour.
No worries, brother. No worries. I quite like Matt Turner. I think the analysis of him both ways has been over the top. Like when he first started, people were, oh my goodness, who is this guy? He's shite. And now he's done well. We've got a couple of clean sheets and stuff like that. He made an excellent save. Those ones where he had to get down quick and save it. And now I've not seen a lot of people saying about he should replace Ramsdale. I think some Twitter sites and stuff like that, for like the old clickbait bollocks, asking, oh, should he get a chance in the Premier? No, he's a very able deputy. I one of the things I really like that Matt Turner does, I love his aggression off the line. I love how he like I say he comes off the line to try and play that sweeper keeper. He's not as assured with his feet as Ramsdale, and I think especially in the Premier League, I think that would really cause a problem, because quite often we're going back to Ramsdale with the ball at his feet to start play, to recycle play and stuff like that, and that's where therein will lie your issue. But I think Matt Turner is a very, very able deputy. I think he's an excellent shot stopper. Like I said, I really like his instincts off the line, and how high he plays, kind of thing. I really, really like that. But yeah, where he is, I think is fine, and I think he's okay with it.
It's a promising start, isn't it? What he's done, he's played 2-3 games. He's done well. You can't ask any more from the guy, and he's providing competition. The better he plays, the better Ramsdale will play, because he'll feel threatened, which is great. But Ramsdale is number one, and he has got a good shout for the England number one spot if Gareth Southgate wasn't manager, because he likes his favourites, doesn't he? And to be fair, Pickford has picked himself up, and he's removed a few doubts from his game. He's playing really well. I personally think, in terms of England number one, I would go for Nick Pope. I think he's been the model of consistency. To be fair,
again with Pope, bless him, he similar to Matt Turner, that especially in that top flight thing, he's so ropey with his feet. He's even worse than Turner with his feet. He's really bad with his feet, and I just think it's such a negative thing in today's goalkeeping.
You have a point,
kind of thing. The thing about Pope, sorry to just go, is he's an absolute fecking giant. He fills out that goal. He makes that goal smaller for the opposition. Which is always going to be a plus. And so I do get what you mean. I think though that for England, I think again, let's say Southgate. He has his favourites, but if he wants to play out from the back, I genuinely see very few other goalkeepers, not just English goalkeepers, that are as good with his feet than.
You've got the
Ramsdale.
You've got the Allisons, of course. I mean, they were the first exponents of really good footwork from a goalkeeper. I get that. I know what you mean, though. In terms of England, Ramsdale's best with his feet, but Southgate doesn't seem to rely on that playing out from the back so much. And you know what, I really feel for Harry Maguire, but
yeah, so do I.
But he has played so very badly, and he's not helping that his manager's picking him, even though he's not playing and that's simply not fair. I mean, you've got a few others that could. I mean, James Tarkowski could come in right now and play because he's playing regularly. Obviously, Ben White. I mean, fuck me, Rob Holding could come in. He's played more games than Harry Maguire, for fuck's sake.
Max Kilman at
good
Wolves.
Shout. Yeah, yeah. I mean, their defensive record's really good at Wolves. I don't know if
Ben fucking White. I don't know what Ben White has got to do to get an England call up.
Do you remember when before we signed him, he was he was at Brighton, wasn't he? And then he went on loan to Leeds, or was it the other way around? But everyone was saying, "Oh, he's going to go to Liverpool. He's going to go to Liverpool because of his delivery from out back." And they did like a compilation on Match of the Day, I think it was, and he was just pinging them. And I thought, "Wow, this kid's good." You know, I didn't think we'd have a sniff of signing him. And when we got him, it's like the hype kind of died down, and you're like, he's cultured. He's a proper. I hate to say it, but the comparisons remain. If you can play the ball out from the back, you get compared to Rio Ferdinand. Well, from our generation anyway. You know, most defenders now can play it out from the back, but he's cultured. He's really calm. And did you see his interview after Bodo?
Yeah, with Fjortov.
Oh, mate, he was almost flippant, and I loved it. I was like, give me some more of that, please. He just doesn't care, and he's so calm. But you're right. If Ben White's playing every single game and he's showing versatility as well, which is a massive asset in a limited squad going to the World Cup, and he still can't get a sniff, then your days are fucking numbered, aren't you? Really?
Right, thank you for covering. They decided the one night that I want to pay with my card. They don't have the card machine isn't working.
What did you go for? What did you go for? What did you plumb for?
Cheesy chips, which I only ever eat half of them, with burger sauce, and a chicken tikka kebab. Well done. No fucking lettuce, because I'm not a fucking rabbit. And
I second you on the no greens thing. But have you tried, like, obviously you can't taste and you can't smell. Have you tried like fucking blasting it away with proper strong chilies and shit?
Oh, I have that with any. I had jalapenos on my pizza when we went out for my birthday on Monday. And,
happy birthday, dude!
Oh, cheers. No one bothered apart from Carl. It's not like I never bloody mention it. It's been 10 years of AVW and I still got fuck all from anyone.
Can we get some happy birthdays in the chat?
No,
for Danny,
don't.
please?
It's too late for that. Good God, no. So there's. So moving on. Last couple of minutes. Richard, how do you feel for the rest of the season up to the break for the World Cup? Are you confident? Just looking at the fixtures that we've got, we have got Leeds tomorrow at 2:00 kickoff. Oh, stop asking you to agree. PSV on Thursday, away to Southampton, PSV at their place, and then we are at home to Forest, at home to Zurich, and then we have got away to Chelsea, at home to Brighton, away to Wolves, and then it's off to the happiest place in the world for the World Cup. Just don't be gay, or they will have you shot.
Yeah.
No holding hands.
That's ridiculous.
No bromances.
Yeah, no PDA.
Yeah, nothing.
None of that. No alcohol.
No. Anyway.
Yeah. So do I, to be fair. I'm excited. I think the performance we've been putting in has just been phenomenal. Just on, if you want to go on stats alone, the XGs and the high lines and the amount of kilometers run and stuff like that, they're all pointing upwards and northwards. But just from the eye test alone, we're absolutely playing fantastically. As I said a bit earlier, not to repeat myself too much, but teams are fearing us. Teams are respecting what we've got and what we're doing. So I can't see why this can't continue and why we can't go on. We've got that, those two dangerous fixtures that everyone was worried about, Spurs and Liverpool, and the fact that we might have had a bit of a touch having that Man City game moved, out of the way, kind of thing. So, as long as we keep our, the majority of our squad fit and healthy. That the main one is Partey. We have to, because nobody can replicate what he does.
Yeah.
Like Tierney goes, all right, he's a little bit injury prone in a minute, but you've got Zinchenko, Martinelli, you've got Saka, you've got, you can bring in Marquinhos if you want, you've got Fabio Vieira who could go either side, Odegaard goes again, Fabio Vieira can move in there, Xhaka, you could stick Sambi Lokonga, because I think Sambi Lokonga is much more the Xhaka for me. I think he's should play in that Xhaka replacement place rather than Partey. But nobody can do what Partey does. Him is the key. We keep him fit, and we should be laughing. Saliba has been an absolute rock. I'd say
you're looking at him.
Well, hopefully we can tie that bad boy down.
They only
to
need
a contract.
to do well in that league, for fuck's sake. They don't need someone of his quality.
No. It's a walk in the park for him, isn't it?
How about you, Job? Rest of the up until the winter break.
I've got this. He's been created in the last 15 years. This fucking rat in my head that anytime something's going well, he pokes up and goes, yeah, but when you were going through the fixtures, and I was thinking that's winnable, and they came up Southampton, who are really struggling at the moment. But it's Southampton. It's Southampton who always give us jip. Right?
Does Shane Long still play for them?
Don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's gone now. We should be okay.
Do you remember that game when Fraser Forster grew 2 legs out of his arse and just fucking saved
game of his life?
Unbelievable, right? Then you've got Wolves, who are languishing, but their defence is ironclad. You got Chelsea. You don't know. You'd like to think they play more open under Graham Potter because he plays a really nice style of football. I like Graham Potter, but it's Chelsea. And then you've all the teams in the league. I immediately hark back to previous negative results, and I think, fuck, that's going to be really tough. And I worry. But it's a different team this season. It's not that team where they would crumble when. Don't worry, lads. I know. Yeah, fingers crossed. It's a different breed now, and it's a different team. And I think crucially, it's a different mentality now. And they don't crumble under pressure. They, if it's a really tough game where they're putting the boot in, they can change, they can adapt, they move things around, and they've got pace to burn. They can put the foot on the ball, and they can slip it through the eye of a needle when they need to. I need to remember that instead of the negative results and the possible cataclysmic end of season that you're going to drop away. Yeah, you know what? We probably will not win the title. I'm not talking about title at all. But at the end, before the World Cup, where are we going to be? Ooh, I'll say second. I can't see. I mean, Erling Haaland has an injury record the same as Thomas Partey's. If Erling Haaland goes, they've got a history of playing false nines, but now they're missing Sterling, who was their regular false nine. So, they're saying their squad depth is amazing. If they lose Haaland, they will struggle.
Which Dortmund did every season that he was there.
Yeah, he missed half the games a lot of the time. So
I read somewhere that because of his body shape and how young he is and the size he is, the thing that especially in later life, late in his career, he's going to struggle.
I mean, he's a fucking brute of a man.
A robot.
What amazes me is his amount of touches during a game. He's so efficient. Everything he does has purpose. So every time he touches the ball, it will carry a threat. There's no wastage there. He's a completely different striker to anything else. I've not seen anything like him before, but he is massively injury prone. If he goes and he gets ruled out like he does at Dortmund, like Danny referred to, and we, like you say, keep Partey fit, keep Jesus fit, Xhaka, Saliba, then fucking who knows? But everyone keeps saying the proof in the pudding is, if you win these next 2 games, then you'll be there or thereabouts. If you win the next 2 games, we've just beaten Spurs and Liverpool, Spurs just put in an insipid performance against Everton, and I was reading the BBC Sport feed, And there was loads of comments saying, if they win this game, then they've got to be considered title contenders. Well, we're not considered title contenders by most pundits, and we're top of the league, and we just thumped you 3-1. So how the fuck can you be title contenders?
No room for logic when it comes to them.
Exactly. So I'm really trying not to get ahead of myself. I'm just trying to enjoy it. I mean, this is the first time in eons where we've had a season where we can go, you know what, I'll look down on the rest of them. It's just amazing. It's so nice. Get behind Arteta and the boys.
Well, there you go. We've given these people almost a full bloody podcast and we didn't even plan to. So,
That's me. I'm sorry.
Tell people where they can find your blog. I put it up there. I'll just do a little message of it on the screen so people can go and click on a link on it.
That's the one. It's up thearsenal.com. For some strange reason, I've been doing this since 2014, and my readers are falling away like leaves in the autumn rain. I used to get 100,000 a year. Now I'm lucky if I get 12,000 a year.
Same with the podcast. Sometimes we would get 10, 20,000 views per show. We now get 2 or 3.
I put a post once a week now because I just don't have time. Once a week, every Thursday. Stay tuned to @JockAFC on the Twitter channel, and you'll see my posts, which I tweet mercilessly. And all you guys always retweet for me, so thank you very much for that. Doesn't have any fucking make any difference, but I do appreciate it.
Also, while we got you, this is the updated version of your book.
#plug.
Yeah, might as well. It's a wonderful book.
It's got excerpts. It's got I interviewed Alan Smith, Amy Lawrence, David Seaman, Lee Dixon, Nigel Winterburn, Kevin Campbell. Bob Wilson as well is in it as well. I couldn't get hold of George Graham. He was very, very hard. His agent was.
Why has he even got an agent?
Oh, David Hillier as well was very helpful. Legend who came through the youth ranks. And
there you go. The link is in the chat if anybody wants to go and click on it, from Legends Publishing, who do lots of Arsenal stuff.
Yeah, they do some great books on there. So, buy a copy now. And if you buy it and let me know, send it to me and I'll sign it for you.
I think I've podcasted with 2 of the people on that page. And I nearly did. I think Paul Davis should be up for one, and Nutty.
Yeah, I've met Paul Davis at do you remember the Stuck in a Moment, Paul Vason, that book?
Oh yes, I
went to the launch for that, and Paul Davis was there. Lovely fella, really nice. Got a lot, and I think he's one of the best midfielders Arsenal have had in the last fucking 40 years.
He's the one that everyone always forgets to add in.
Very underrated.
Well, if you do want something for Christmas, go and buy this. Go to Legends Publishing, because Dave Seeger's got a load of stuff there. Loads of Arsenal people have got things there, and it's just really nice to go and buy it. And
it's a limited edition. It's all shiny as well.
I like the stickers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Richard. Before we go, have you got any books or blogs or colouring in you've done recently with the kids?
Nothing. Sadly,
or bins for the dog. Have you done the washing up well or anything like that? Have you put the bins out?
I did do the bins. It was recycling on Thursday, so yeah, I did that.
Excellent.
Like I say, as I said to you at the start of I think it was before the thing, schlepped all the way to Barnet today with my girls.
Oh, wow.
Sadly, we lost 7-5, but it was a great game. It really, really was a great game. Really, really proud of my girls. So we've joined up with Ealing Trailfinders now. So we play as Ealing Trailfinders, which are like more of a rugby club. I mean, they do loads of other sports, football, cricket, bowling, and stuff like that. They're in they perennially win the rugby championship, which is like the championship version of football kind of thing, but can't get promoted because their stadium doesn't have enough seats.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so we've joined up with Ealing Trailfinders, and my girls, I coach the under 14s, and we've actually got half of our team, a good chunk of our team is of our squad are actually playing a year up. They're actually in year 8 when they should be in year 9.
Wow.
So they're doing phenomenally well, and the positivity in the girls is just an absolute joy. So long may it continue.
I'd like to give a shout out if I can. Jason Davies, the Welsh Warrior. Thank you so much, mate. You have been, honestly, I think he's retweeted everything I've put out for the last 10 years. I don't think I'm even exaggerating.
He's just lulling you in to kill you.
I don't care.
He's playing the long game, is he?
I'd willingly
10
go
years.
He's trying to get close to me via you so he can murder me as well.
Absolute gentleman. And my two best Arsenal friends, Daniel Kieran and James Rowell Stokes. Known them for a very long time, and they're always there for me. So, yeah, that's it, really. Getting all sentimental and shit.
Excellent. Right, tomorrow I think the game starts at 2, so we finish by 4. So maybe about 4:30. There'll be 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30. I don't know, sometime like that. I haven't arranged it yet. We will do a post-game show. And remember, people, if you want to go and buy something for your loved ones, go to legendspublishing.net and then go and have a look for Almost Invincible, the Arsenal class of 91. If you're not sure why they're almost invincible, because we went to Chelsea and they got a penalty. I think it was a penalty, wasn't it?
There was a Kerry Dixon offside goal.
Yeah.
Now you're fucking quizzing me.
2-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2-1. We scored late in the 90th minute, but the big, it was on a travesty of a pitch, and then they took out Steve Boulder, one remaining fit centre back. It was a waist high tackle. It wasn't even a knee high. It was shocking, and he didn't even get booked for it. We had to bring on David Hillier, who was promoted from the youth team that season, to play at centre back. And we withheld for so long, but they got through in the end. It was just shocking. Offside, injuries, rash tackles.
Wasn't that the only game Alan Smith got booked in? Or I think it might have been that one.
He's only got booked once. I mean, I remember that season he scored his only penalty. Can you tell me which game it was?
Hang on. Yes, I can. Hang on. It was the last game of the season against Man United.
That was the second last game of the season, but you're right. Against Man United, he scored his hat-trick. We beat him 3-1. That was the game where Liverpool had lost against Nottingham Forest just before. Yeah. So Highbury was a fucking party that day. And then the last game of the season, we beat Coventry 6-1 and Limpar.
6-1, yeah. Limpar. I love Limpar. He was one of my favourite players.
When I interviewed Smudge, he said at the end, the one thing that amazed me, I said, tell me something about him that no one knows. He said the size of his feet were like a fucking size 3. He said they were absolutely tiny, and he roomed with him for a wee while. Tiny feet. There you go.
What a
player. What a player.
That goal against Man United at the Old Trafford brawl.
Yeah. I'll always remember his first goal for us was against Aston Villa in the Makita Trophy.
Very good, very nice.
Oh, what a play! I love Limpar. He was my first ever players that I absolutely fell in love with.
He was the sprinkling of magic in that side, mate. He really was.
He cried. He cried when Wenger said, George Graham told him, I've sold you to Everton. He said, I don't want to go. He said, I sat there and I cried.
Yeah, because he said that George Graham he didn't agree with his training rigorousness.
George wanted to stop playing flair, didn't he? He just wanted to go and oof it and defend it. And
we became a cup team.
Oh, dear. Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. You have been absolutely wonderful. See you in another 5 years, Jock.
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of years, mate.
Richard, it's nice to have you back on again. It has been a little while, but now the holidays, hollybobs, are all over and done with. We should see a little bit more of you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Jolly good. Dan. And if you are new, maybe consider subscribing. If you don't, I'll come around and kill all your pets and I'll shit in your flower bed. And we will be back tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to everybody in the chat who has sat with us for an hour and 22 minutes. I'm going to go because I've got food coming. Thank you very much, and we'll see you later. We shall play the outro of Anfield 89, 36 seconds. Here we go. Hold on to your socks.
Out it goes to Lee Dixon. Long ball from Lee Dixon. Smith will hold it up. Plays it square to Thomas. And Thomas goes inside Nickel. And Thomas is there. And Thomas has scored for Arsenal. In injury time, Michael Thomas has scored for Arsenal. A ball played through the gap. Thomas was there. He held off 2 challenges, kept his head. By my watch, we are a minute and a half into injury time, and Michael Thomas